Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Saratoga Racecourse here on Wednesday, 16th of August, 2023. We're going to look at all the races here on Wednesday's program from Saratoga, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean it around the world. Join me this weekend for my Deauville preview on Sunday. Great race there with Pre-Morny, and also Saturday for here from Saratoga, you have the Alabama, which is always a good race, so check that out. But it's a decent card today from Saratoga. We have 9 races to look at. So let's get to it right now. I think it's the first 9-race card of the season from the spa. But the opener, it's Maine Specialway purse, $88,000, race from Maine's 2-year-old fillies here, state breds. We have a field of 10 horse including Parvin entry, heading to the inner turf course, 1,700 meters a trip, or a mile 16th on that inner turf course. Rails are quite far out, 27 feet this week. My top selection, I'm going to go with the 8 horse, a little bit naughty. I'm going to go 8653 in the superfecta. 8653 super, top selection 8 horse, a little bit naughty. This 2-year-old filly by Oscar Performance. Danny Gargan trains Luis Saez, who's having a very good Saratoga meeting, gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came well, he never made a most recent outing. He's a first-time starter here, but his most recent workout came the 6th of August, which was a week and a half ago. 3 furlongs in the main track, 36-3 from the gate. The 6th best workout, 31 and a half mile, 51-1. The 59th best workout, 85. We have to remember, Danny Gargan, first-time starters, don't have the best percentage at 11%, but when you get to the his 2-year-olds this year, they've really been running great races. This horse coming into this race, I like how the workout patterns have been improving a lot of gate workouts. I think this horse has some speed, and I think this horse could really get a good trip. He's bred for turf through and through. I'm going to use this here. I think the 6 horse wins an eagle for Christophe Command, Flavien, and Pratcher second likeliest winner. On debut a few weeks ago here over the mile 16th, he finished 6 by 12 lengths that day, and he just kind of stalked and was flat that day. I like that they're going to get a little bit of aggressive with this horse coming with a 2-week turnaround. He should show some pace here today, hopefully, because his workout pattern looks like he has some pace. Coming here second, sophomore appearance, I'll give him a shot at 3-1 on the ticket. I think he's going to be a lot improved with the quick turnaround. But to recount my selection for the opener from Saratoga, I'm going to take the 8 horse, a little bit naughty. Give kudos to the 6 horse, once an eagle, 8653 super. Let's go 8-6 in your multi-race. The second event from Saratoga now. It is a maiden claiming event going for a $52,000 purse race for maidens, fillies, mayors, 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 6 horses going 1,600 meters or the Wilson Mile here at Saratoga. I'm going to go with the 6 horse test draw as a top selection. I'm going to go 6-2-1-3 in the superfecta. 6-2-1-3 super, top selection 6 horse Vestral. This 3-year-old filly by Cross Traffic. Carly Caramarchi trains this one. Joel Rosario gets the mount. Most recent outing came 20th of July at Indiana on the lawn, a mile 16th in the main specialway, and the horse finished 6th by 19 lengths. Those Indiana races on turf can show up very tough at times. This horse, he was just wide, was drifting that day, and he wasn't keeping the straight cross. Down in class, back to dirt, has some further pace. Hopefully Rosario uses that pace. I think that could do wonders for this horse, and I think he could go a long way to win here today. 2 back on the 8th of February Turfway, mile on the speed in the main special weight. He finished 5th by 2 1/4 lengths that day. From wide poster, he just kind of stalked. He was on the drive late, just not excelling. It wasn't his day to win. And then mid-January Turfway over the mile 16th in the main special weight. He finished 2nd by a neck. Again, he stalked that day. He was really closing up well late. He just missed, but he ran his heart out there. And then at Churchill, mile 16th in the main specialway in November. He finished 4th by 8.5 lengths that day. He was with him early on, but then it was kind of hit the wall. He's down to the lowest level here today. He could be forwardly paced on this course. I think he's a very likely winner. I think the 2 horse, Don't Tell Amy, is your second likeliest winner. Most recently on turf in the main 75 a few weeks ago, he finished 10th by 8.25 lengths that day, and he just never really showed up. Not really a turf horse. The race on dirt before that really just lost by many open late. Something must have won and missed because you didn't see the horse since then. And then, showed some promise in December at Aqueduct. And the debut really showed promise, but hasn't shown that performance since. Another horse way down the class ladder. I'll give him a shot here at 3-1. He could definitely win. But to recap my selection for the second from Saratoga, I'm going to take the 6 horse Vestral and give kudos to the 2 horse Don't Tell Amy. 6-2-1-3 super, 6-2 in your multi-race. Third event from Saratoga, it's a claiming event going for $40,000 purse race for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and upwards, going for that $16,000 claiming price. We have a field of 7 horses going 1,600 meters or a mile on the Wilson Mile here at Saratoga. My top selection, I'm going to go with the 2-horse timed out, 2715 for me in the superfecta, 2715 super, top selection 2-horse timed out. This 5-year-old mare by Flat Out. Ralph D'Angelo trains, or Alessandro trains one. Irates Jr. gets the mount on this Finger Lake shipper. Most recently, an optional 20 at the Finger Lake 6 furlongs, 12th of July. He finished second by 3/4 length that day, and he didn't get out of the gate so clearly. Had the really big quarter horse to get a good position to the front end, and he was in front by open lengths. He got overtaken late, but he didn't go down with a fight. I thought he showed potential. I think going back to a routing trip for the first time in a minute should really suit him well. His buyers are definitely up to scratch. On a speed favoring or front runner favor course, I think he could really, go away and run a good race here today. 2 back in the claiming 12 at the Finger Lake 6 furlongs, 14th of June. He won by a half a length that day, and he was a little bit wide, but he stalked. He got there in nick of time. It was a very good run for this horse that day, and earning a 67 buyer. And then a lounge race for at the Finger Lakes, going 5.5 in late May. He won by 4 1/4 lengths that day. Again, not so clear getting out of the gate at times, but I've seen worse times getting out of the gate, but he sat back early, and then when he got to the lead, he really took off clear, making the Saratoga debut. He's training well at the Finger Lake since the last race. He has some speed. I'm going to use him here. I think the 7-horse, it's cold in here. This Luis Saez, John Toscano trains 7 mare by Icebox. Most recently, 2 weeks ago, in claiming 1250 over the Wilson Mile, he finished second by 2 lengths, and he got caught in the stretch. He should have won, but what can you do? He just stalked a little bit of a quick pace early on, or to the half. Prior to that, in claiming 20 at Belmont, going a mile on the 2nd of June, he finished third by 4.5 lengths. Again, not the best beginnings, but he was closing up well late. And then he won a claiming 20 at Aqueduct mid. Marched quite nicely by a half length on the front end. Coming here to Saratoga with quick turnaround. If he could slow it down or not, go quick to the half, he can win here. I'll give him a shot in the pick 4. But to recap my selection for the third from Saratoga, going to take the 2-horse timed out. Give kudos to the 7-horse. It's cold indy here. Where are we? 2715 super. 27 in my multi-race wager. The early pick 4 will play, not the pick 5. The 4th race from Saratoga. It's a starter allowance race per $70,000 race for fillies, mares, 3-year-olds and upwards. Never start for a claim price $50,000 or less, which never won a race in main claim. Blah 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 blah. We have a field of 12 horses entered. 11 and 12 are MTOs. So 10 will head to the Mellon, 1,100 meters a trip, or 5.5 furlongs on that Mellon turf course. Again, rails are out at 27 feet. I'm going to take the number 5 horse here, World Traveler. I'm going to go 5-7-2-3 in the superfecta. 5-7-2-3 super. Top selection 5-horse World Traveler. 4-year-old fillet by Lehman's Map. Gregory Sacco trains one. Jose Lascano gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came 20th of July, Monmouth. 5 furlongs in the lounge race, 57,000. And the horse finished 4th by 7.5 lengths that day, and he just never really showed up. And they were flying early on, but he just was flat late. The winner, keep in mind, even though that race was just right around the corner, he came back to his next start winner quite nicely. All that magic. This horse come back here should see a stronger pace in front. This turf course can play towards closers. I think he'd get a good trip and win off the quick turnaround. 2 back in Monmouth on the 2nd of July, 5.5 in the lounge race, 57,000. He finished second by 2.5 lengths that day. And again, he sat back early. He was really gaining late. If the race was 6, he probably would have won by open lengths, but he ran his heart out that day. And then claiming 40 at Monmouth, 5 furlongs, 9th of June. His first start on the green stuff. He finished second by 3/4 length that day. He stalked. He nearly got there late. He just kind of got overtaken by All That Magic, who's been a quite good horse. I've seen that this horse has faced him quite a few times, and so I had to go back to look up that All That Magic horse. He's having a great season in the allowance claiming ranks. It's sometimes this horse's nemesis. He fought back late. This horse, he ran his heart out against a decent horse. He's having a great season so far. He's training well at Monmouth. I'm going to give this horse here a shot here on the ticket. I think the 7 horse made his race for John Kimmel could win. Most recently on the 19th of July, going 5.5 in a start on a lounge race. He finished 4th by 4.75 lengths that day, and he was a little bit wide. He stalked. He had the lead. He kind of hit the wall late. He just couldn't keep up off the bench. Second off, back to 5.5, where I'll see a stronger pace in front. I think he could definitely get the victory. His buyers are definitely up to scratch here. Even the 2 horse now showing for John Terranova. The race 2 back in the main 40 at Belmont can win. Last time out, he just didn't have the best beginnings, which cost him because he was behind the 8 ball after that, where he had to be quarter horsed out of it. If he could break clearly he could win. He's training well at Saratoga on the main track. 30 furlongs, 36 and 3, the fourth best workout of 18. I'm going to use him on the pick four in this very wide open leg here. But to recount my selection for the fourth from Saratoga, I'm going to take the 5-horse World Traveler. Give kudos to the 7-horse Matey's Grace and the 2-horse Now Showing. 5-7-2-3 Super. 5-7-2 in your multi-race. The fifth event from Saratoga, going to the Inner Turf course with this one. It's a starter allowance race per $70,000 race for 3-year-olds and upwards. Never start for a claim price $50,000 or less, which never won a race on main claim, blah, 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 blah. We have a field of 12 horses entered. 11 and 12 are MTOs, so 10 will head to the Inner Turf course, 1,800 meters to trip, or a mile and 1/8 on the Inner Turf course. I'm going to take here the 7-horse Giro as a top selection. 7-10-4-9 in the superfecta for me. 7-10-4-9 super. Top selection 7-horse Giro. This 6-year-old gelded by Pioneer of the Nile. Mike Maker trains. Iradetes Jr. gets the mount. Horse's most recent outing came 16th of July at Ellis. A mile and a quarter on the lawn and an allowance race 74,000. And he finished 6 by 7 3/4 lengths that day. From a wide post draw, 7:07 on the turn going at Ellis, going a mile and a quarter. He left to go to the inside out of the wide post draw, and then that was basically it. He never really got going. Back to a lower class here to a mile and 1/8, more level of playing field. I think he could really run a good race. He's been running at these quirky distances last two starts where they position the gate quirky. Going a mile 3/8 at Ellis on the mud, on the dirt before that allowance race, starting on the turn again. He finished 4th by 2 1/4 lengths. Another wide poster. He was wide throughout, and he just never was really comfortable there. And then at Churchill, mile 3/8 in mid-May, an allowance race under 35,000. He finished 4th by 1 1/4 lengths that day. He sat back early. He was bumping a little bit late. He just couldn't. He needed something more, but he ran his heart out that day. And mid-April, Keeneland going mile and 1/8 an allowance race. He finished 3rd by 3 3/4 lengths. He probably needed the race that day, but he ran decently against his horses. Down to a claiming event. He should really get a good trip, and it wouldn't surprise me if he wins. He started here last summer in a allowance race over the mile and a half where he finished 2nd by a head and where he just missed, but he ran his heart out there. Came back to run a massive 2nd allowance race over the mile 5/16 at Kentucky Downs last season, and then you didn't see the horse since then. But he's training well. I'll give this horse a shot on the ticket. I think your second likeliest winner is the 10-horse Unleash the Power for Luis Saez and Al Stahl. Most recently, in a star allowance race opening week here at Saratoga over the mile, he finished 2nd by 2 1/2 lengths that day, and he just stalked most of the race. He just couldn't catch the winner who had the jump on him, but he ran his heart out that day. And then a Churchill mile in early June allowance race. He finished 3rd by a half a length again. The winner just had the jump on him. He was gaining, but it was just a little bit too late. He hasn't won since the debut victory at Ellis last summer where he won maiden 50 going away. Came back to run at Kentucky Downs where he ran crap. They trod him on the dirt after that, put an X through that race. And, as this season has been going on, he's been getting better with every single race. I think he's sitting on a good race. At 3-1, let's use him in the get-out leg of this early pick four. But to recount my selection for the fifth from Saratoga, going to take the 7-horse Giro. Give kudos to the 10-horse Unleash the Power. 7-10-4-9 super. Let's go 7-10 to end off this pick four. Let's get to the late pick four, race number 6 from Saratoga. The sixth event from Saratoga, it's an allowance race per $149,500 race for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upwards, never won 18,000. The main claim starter, bred, blah, 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 blah. We have a field of 9 horses going the distance of ground of 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs on the main track. I'm going to take the 7-horse Cupid's Heart. Let's go 7-5-8-3 in the superfecta. 7-5-8-3 super, top selection 7-horse Cupid's Heart. This 4-year-old filly by Cupid here. Bruce Levine trains. Flavian Pratt gets the mount. 9-5. The horse's most recent appearance came 22nd of July at Saratoga. 7 furlongs and allowance race 126,000, and the horse finished 2nd by 3/4 length that day. If he would have broke better, he probably would have won. He didn't break so well, which cost him. He was behind the A-ball. He had to be rushed to the front end. He really had a decent turn of foot late. The winner, Undervalued Asset, just had the jump on him late, but this horse, he ran his heart out. He jumped to a somewhat co-career best 88 buyer. Come back here to Saratoga where he likes running. Hopefully a better trip, breaking out of the gate a little bit clearer. I think he could run the trip to win. 2 back at 6.5 at Belmont, 23rd June, allowance race 95,000. He finished 3rd by 1 3/4 lengths that day, and he just kind of stalked that day. He needed something more. Maybe they were giving him the race first start back from first start back from last year. Maybe thinking about Saratoga. He ran his heart out, but like I said, probably needed the race there. And then 25th of November at Aqueduct, 1 mile allowance race, 90,000. He finished 3rd by 7 lengths that day, and he was with them early on. He just kind of hit the wall late. What can you do? He just wasn't staying the mile there. And then at Aqueduct on the 23rd of October, 7 furlongs up to 45. He won by 5, and from a front end trip, he really took off clear. He basically walked under the wire late. Like I said, he likes this course. He won here at closing closing day last year on the slop, going 6 in the State Bred Allowance race, won by 5 1/4 lengths. Off the bench, he really put on a show with Flavien Prat up. Every time Flavien's rode this horse, the buyers have really come back strong. Getting him back aboard again today at 9-5, I'm going to use him. I think the 5 horse here, who is Three Rivers, Belmont trains one, and Junior Alvarado gets him out. I think he's your second likeliest winner. Three Rivers, isn't that the Three River City? Isn't that Pittsburgh? I was there last summer on a work trip. It was really fun. And very nice city, very underrated. But I don't want to go back for many, many years. But 3-year-old filly by American Pharaoh, Belmont trains one. Like I said, Junior Alvarado gets him out. Most recently in mid-June at Belmont, 6 furlongs in the main special weight. He won by 1 3/4 lengths that day, and he basically was on the front end all throughout. He had an easy turn of foot, and he went away with it. A 78 buyer. Come back here to Saratoga. The mop horses have really been, if they haven't been winning, they've been hitting the board quite nicely. Coming here today, I think he's another very likely winner. He can make this race interesting at 4-1. Let's use him in this late pick 4. But to recount my selection for the 6 from Saratoga, I'm going to take the 7 horse Cupid's Heart. Give kudos to the 5 horse Three Rivers, 7-5, 8-3 Super. Let's go 7-5 in your multi-race. The 7th event from Saratoga, it is a claiming event going for $45,000 purse, race for 3-year-old and upwards, number 1, 2 races here. We have a field of 9 horses going to the main track, 1 lap around, which is 1,800 meters in circumference, or a mile and 1/8 on the Saratoga main track. Going to take the 3 horse Freeze Pop. Let's go 3-7-2-6 in the superfecta. 3-7-2-6 super. Top selection 3 horse Freeze Pop. This 4-year-old gun by Candy Ride. Robertina Diodoro trains. Ricardo Santana Jr. gets to mount. Horse's most recent outing came mid-June at Ellis, 1 mile claiming 30, and the horse finished 3rd by 7.5 lengths that day, and he just kind of sat back early. He was a little bit wide, and he was just lackadaisical. He is coming here to Saratoga around 2 turns, but he has some pace, which I think should be killer in this race. If he's more forwardly paced, I think he could get away with it on the front end and go all the way. 2 back in claiming 30 at Churchill, mile 16, 20th of May. Off the 4 or 5 month break, he finished 3rd by 3.5 lengths that day, and he was with them early on. He got caught late, but he ran his heart out that day. And then mid January at Turfway, 1 mile into Peta and claiming 30, he finished 5th by 8.5 lengths that day. And again, he was with them early on, but then he just kind of crumbled a little bit too quick to that half in the middle of January at Turfway. And then late December at Turfway, 1 mile into claiming 30, he finished 2nd by 4.5 lengths, and the winner was much the best. But this horse was, it's the best of the rest that day. I hate saying that, but he was. He if you run a race like he broke his maiden, he could win here. That was a maiden 50 claimer at Keeneland going a mile and 1/8 in mid-October, where he won by 3 lengths, and they walked in the front end 114-2, 114 and 2 3/4. You're gonna win off those fractions, and he wasn't going away. That was a very good run. After that, he just didn't show speed. He ran here last summer over the Wilson Mile in the main 75, where he finished 3rd by 11.5 lengths. The 2 from were much the best, but this horse he did show something that day. He showed a little bit of running late. Training well. I'm going to give him a shot here on the ticket if he could show some speed. That's going to be his key to the winner's circle. You can't throw the 7 horse South Street for Linda Rice and Jose Ortiz. Most recently in a start allowance race over the Wilson Mile here last week on Thursday, he finished 3rd by 8 lengths. And he was stupidly wide, but he was gaining late. Prior to that allowance race, 95,000 early July at Belmont, he finished 5th by 5 1/4 lengths. And again, he was just a little bit wide. And then claiming 40 going a mile 16th, he finished 2nd by 2.5 lengths. And he was very rambunctious that day. I don't know if he wasn't comfortable. Since coming to the new barn from the Mont to the Rice barn, this horse really jumped up a lot. I'll give him a shot here on the ticket. He is training well, but will he run with a quick turnaround? That's my biggest question. We'll see today. But to recount my selection for the 7 from Saratoga, I'm going to take the 3 horse Freeze Pop. Give kudos to 7 horse South Street. 3-7-2-6 Super. 3-7 in your multi-race. The featured 8th race from the spot, it is the Suzie O'Kane Stakes. It's going for a $125,000 purse. Races for 3-year-old fillies here, state breds. We have a field of 11 horses entered. 10 and 11 are MTOs, so 9 will head to the inner 1,700 meters of trimp, or a mile 16th on that turf course. I'm going to go with the 1 horse Kasuke as a top selection, or Kasuke. I'm going to go 1-5-7-2 in the superfecta. 1-5-7-2 super. Top selection to 1 horse Kasuke, or Kasuk. whatever. This 3-year-old field by Caracanite here. James Bond trains when Jose Ortiz gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the opening week here at Saratoga, mile and on the inner and allowance race 95,000 for state breds, and he finished third by 3.5 lengths that day. He got really annihilated at the break that day, but he got to the front end. He tried walking early on. He just kind of hit the wall late. The winners got to him, but he ran his heart out that day. Coming here on a more speed favoring course, if he gets out of the gate a little bit better from the inside, I think he could really run a good race. Two back of Belmont, 29th of May, mile 16th on the inner in a allowance race. He finished third by 2.25 lengths that day, and he just kind of stalked that day. He needed something more late that day, but he ran his heart out with those slow fractions. And then prior to that, in the main special weight of Aqueduct, mile 16th in mid-April, he won by a neck. He was drawn a little bit wide, but when he got to the front end, he grinded it out to the wire. Very good, strong run from this horse that day from where he was drawn. He's training well since the last race. I'll give him a shot here on the ticket. Not to knock Torres, who's ridden the horse in his last three. Getting Ortiz up today really should help this horse a lot. I think the 5-horse Silver Skillet for Joel Rosario and Christophe Clement could win second time stakes quality horses. First time in a while, though. Most recently in that 15th of July race at Saratoga, the common race that a lot of these horses were coming out of, he won by half length. He was a little bit wide, but he was closing up well late. That was a very good run with his career best 78 buyer. Prior to the allowance race, 80,000 at Belmont over the 7. He finished second by a neck. A little bit wide, but in his turf debut, he really was gaining late. He has to turn a foot, which you see sometimes in those dirt races early on in his career. Since coming to the green stuff, he's really jumped up a lot of buyers. He's training well since the last race. It's his next logical step on the surface he wants to run on, going to a stakes quality race. I think he should get a good trip. I'm going to use him at 2-1 here in this late pick 4. But to recount my selection for the 8th from the Saratoga now, to Suzie O'Kane, going to take the 1-horse Kasuke. Give kudos to the 5-horse Silver Skillet, 1-5-7-2 Super. Let's go 1-5 to end off the multi-race. The nightcap, the 9th race from Saratoga, back to the Mellon Turf Course. It's a main claiming event going for a $50,000 purse race from Maine's fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upwards, state breds. Field of 13 horses entered. 1A is an AE, 11 and 12 are MTOs. So 10 will head to the Mellon, the distance of ground of 1,100 meters, or 5.5 furlongs on that Mellon turf course. I'm going to take the 5-horse True Martini as a top selection. Let's go 5-4-6-2 in the superfecta. 5-4-6-2 Super, top selection of 5-horse True Martini, this 4-year-old filly by Loban here. Jose D'Angelo trains. Jose Ortiz gets the mount. Let's give him the late double here. But most recently, they tried the horse on the 18th of February at Gulfstream, 7.5 on a main 20,000 routing. He finished 6 by 8.25 lengths that day. He was just wide. He never showed some speed, and it just wasn't his day to win. I don't know if he wants to go the routing trip. Two back going 7.5 in mid-January at Gulfstream in the main 20. He finished third by 3.5 lengths. Again, he was with them early on from wide trip and a horrible break. He's with them early on, just kind of hit the wall late. It wasn't his day to win. And then they tried him on the turf, they tried trying him on the turf before that, but it was rained off. We're on the dirt at Aqueduct in mid-November, 6 furlongs in the main special weight. He finished 9th by 22.25 lengths that day, and he just not a dirt horse. On debut in mid-September last year at Aqueduct, going 6th in the main special weight, he finished 6 by 5.25 lengths that day. He didn't break so well, and he had a little bit tough trip down the backstretch, but he showed something in that last day of the mile there. He's definitely about to improve. I think cutting back to 5.5 should suit him well. He should see a strong pace to close up in 2. Drawn well, I'm going to use him. I think the 4-horse Red Butterfly can win also. Most recently made 40 here 3 weeks ago here at Saratoga. He finished 4th by 4.5 lengths there, and again, he was just a little bit rambunctious that day. He moved a little bit late, but he still needs something more. And then prior to that, Belmont, 7 furlongs, main 40, finished second by 1.25 lengths. And again, he was dueling on the front end, flying on the front end, shall I say, and he just couldn't keep up late. Take out the dirt race. He just wasn't handling it in November at Aqueduct. And then he basically got body checked at Aqueduct in late October. That's why he didn't win there around the far turn. But coming here today, he's on the improve. I'm going to give him a shot here on the ticket to end off this card. But to recount my selection for the 9th from Saratoga, I'm going to take the 5-horse True Martini. Give kudos to the 4-horse Red Butterfly. 5-4-6-2 Super. Let's go 5-4 to end off the multi-race wagers. So good luck to all. Remember to follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5 for more selections for race courses around the world. And join me for my Alabama preview this upcoming weekend. Good luck, everybody.